Greetings, welcome back to Black Bear News, where we are discussing climate change, abrupt climate change, and things adjacent. Please remember to like this video and to make sure that you are still subscribed. And so some breaking, new news. Saw this in a couple places. This is from Friday, January 17th. Locusts swarm into Kenya as UN warns of extreme danger to food supply. So another wrinkle in the ongoing food situation in Africa. Government races against time to contain threat to key food-producing regions in countries still reeling from droughts and floods. The UN has warned of significant and extremely dangerous escalation in the number of desert locusts descending on Kenya as the government strives to contain the threat before it reaches the country's food-producing regions. The tropical grasshoppers have been wreaking havoc on Kenya's neighbors to the north and east, devouring tens of thousands of hectares of crops in Ethiopia and Somalia since last June. Swarms crossed over into northeast Kenya on December 28th. In a statement released on Monday, the UN's Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, predicted that their potential spread could include the breadbasket countries of central Kenya. If it does, the insects could destroy crucial parts of the country's food supply at a time when food insecurity is already on the rise owing to droughts and floods last year. Each kilometer of locusts in a swarm can eat as much in a day as 35,000 people. According to the FAO, one locust swarm seen in Kenya measured 2,400 square kilometers. Wow. There is an unprecedented threat to food security and livelihoods across the Horn of Africa, the FAO said. So far, they haven't gotten to the cropland. We are working hard to prevent them from spreading to food production areas. Kenya's newly appointed agricultural minister, Peter Munya, announced on Wednesday that the government has allocated $300,000 to fight the threat. Scary situation. Moving on to the story out of Newfoundland. I've been seeing this in multiple places as well, all over my Twitter feed and my Facebook timeline. Newfoundland got an amazing amount of snow. Crippling Newfoundland, Canada blizzard from bomb cyclone smashes all-time daily snow record, and this is from yesterday. An intense storm delivered a crippling blizzard to Newfoundland, Canada. Friday and Saturday, parts of Newfoundland were buried in feet of snow from a crippling blizzard Friday and Saturday, smashing an all-time calendar day snowfall record in a storm-prone part of Atlantic Canada. St. John's Airport measured 76.2 centimeters or 30 inches of snowfall Friday, the record snowiest single day to date, dating to 1942, topping the previous record of 68.4 centimeters on April 5th, 1999, according to Environment Canada. The epic snow and wind gusts up to 97 miles per hour whipped snow into massive drifts, burying vehicles, blocking roads, garages, and doors of homes, and filling backyards. You can see this. This is crazy. Snow all the way up to the top of the garage door almost. 26-year-old man was reported missing in the blizzard conditions after he failed to return from a walk near his home in Conception Bay Friday. They were getting roofs blown off houses, people trapped in their cars. Roads were so clogged with snow, at least one resident was transported by snowmobile to the hospital. And this is an amazing picture of snowplows trying to clear roads. If you can see the signs sticking up out of the snow. The snow is quite far up the signposts. Moving on to this from today from the Guardian. Extinction Rebellion. This was actually posted by, I just saw this on Twitter by George Socrates. I'm continuing to not pronounce his name right, and I apologize. Extinction Rebellion listed as key threat by counter-terror police. And this actually, we saw this actually last year. This was mentioned last year. But I guess awareness of this, awareness training across London led to intelligence tip-offs, according to a report. A police force in London labeled Extinction Rebellion one of its key threats in a counterterrorism assessment and provided awareness training on the climate crisis group across the capital, resulting in intelligence tip-offs. City of London Police grouped the environmental protest movement alongside far-right organizations in an assessment of its counterterrorism operation seen by The Guardian. The report provides further evidence that Extinction Rebellion has become of interest to counterterrorism police after The Guardian revealed that the group was included in anti-radicalization materials alongside violent far-right and jihadist groups. Provided to a scrutiny committee of the City of London Corporation, the report detailed the police force's performance against different measures, including the capability and impact the force is having against countering terrorist activity. This is not good. In a detailed summary of it, so I provided to a scrutiny committee of the City of London Corporation. The report detailed the police force's performance against different measures, including the capability and impact the force is having against countering terrorist activity. In a detailed summary of its performance in countering terrorism, the report said the force has continued close liaison with partners in pan-London agencies regarding the key threats. What does that mean, pan-London agencies? Particularly with regard to far-right organizations and Extinction Rebellion. Wow. The Guardian revealed this month that Extinction Rebellion had been placed on a list of extremist ideologies that should be reported to authorities running the PREVENT program. Wow. Last week it was revealed that Greenpeace, PETA, and other nonviolent groups were included in a counterterrorism police document distributed to medical staff and teachers as part of anti-extremism briefings. Wow. Wow. Somebody posted something on Twitter the other day about censoring or taking down denialist or denier YouTube sites. Saying that they should be censored, they should be taken down. They're bad people. The problem with this is that, as with all other things, when you start labeling people as conspiracy theorists or Russian bots or Russian controlled or extremists, radical, if you allow that to be done to other people, then you're also saying that's okay for it to be done to you if you happen to fall under that umbrella of radical. And I want to caution the left. There's a difference between hate groups or people that are actually going to do violent things or use hate speech or spread hateful ideas. There are extremist groups that are anti-establishment that are not, hateful or promoting violence. However, because they are dubbed extremist, they can also be censored, have their YouTube sites taken down, be surveilled by intelligence agencies. Not a good thing. Not a good thing. If you don't want to, find yourself corralled in this pen of, somebody that the forces that be find that they can monitor your activities and curtail your activities. So be very, very careful. Tread very, very lightly when you point the finger at somebody else and say they should be stopped or they're bad people or they should be censored. Be very careful about that because you know, you may get your wish, and that wish could boomerang and hurt you. So lastly, I wanted to read this article that George Sacroclides he linked it to me on Twitter, titled "Addicted to Trauma, a Cycle We Must Break for the Sake of This Planet." As a panicking, and this is from January 17th, as a panicking humanity runs from the fires it set off, it risks seeking refuge in the coping mechanisms and dictators who will validate its trauma and continue the cycle. Trauma is a part of life. It is what shapes us, what makes us. It teaches us valuable lessons. It even makes us a better person. We all vaguely remember the first time we fell on the ground and cried. We remember how harsh the gravel and dirt fell against our sensitive skin, or the first time we felt embarrassed and wanted to disappear, when we got bullied and felt powerless, and when we were stood up on a date and felt worthless, or when we got fired from work right before the weekend. With each traumatic experience, we become a new person. Trauma is the most effective way in which humans and other animals learn. It also has powerfully transformative and regenerative effects on the psyche and the spirit. It is often said that people who have lost something or someone are nicer people overall. They tend to be less arrogant, more empathetic, more open, more wise. But most of all, they seem to be mysteriously connected with everything. They radiate some kind of quiet, infinite wisdom. When you look into their eyes, you can see Earth. Trauma's transformative powers only become available to us under one condition: if we allow it to shape us, to run like electricity through our body, like a ravaging forest fire that tears through our soul and demolishes our pride. If we stop fearing trauma and instead accept it, mysterious and powerful psychological mechanisms are activated that are similar to a near-death experience. These mechanisms give us access to new insight, to a level of consciousness that transcends time and space. We become connected to the world, to every single plant or animal that has ever felt pain, to every insect or even bacterium that has ever been squashed. By feeling our trauma, we connect to an ancient cycle of trauma and regeneration that defines all forms of existence on Earth. In this way, our traumatic experience becomes more than just learning what to avoid next time. It becomes a spiritual transformation to a new type of existence, one that is open, aware, introspective, connected, compassionate. We become time and space. All religions have tried to tap into the power of trauma, from the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus to the wisdom of the karma and reincarnation. But trauma releases its tremendous healing power only if the person traumatized allows their experience to humble them, to open their eyes and realize their fragility, their fallibility, their imperfection, yet determination to live. Realize that they are an insignificant piece of the universe, an imperfect human, and that they need to forgive and be forgiven for their imperfection. Trauma is a celebration of our mortality, our humanity and humility. It is a celebration of our spirit. Our trauma denial means that we have created a civilization that traumatizes us every single day. Some true truth right there. Truthy truth. Human civilization and progress have strived to cover up trauma rather than process it. Our fear of death, the ultimate form of trauma, has made us go into denial. It has made us tremendously insecure and desperate to find ingenious ways to tell ourselves that we are immortal. Whether it is building empires, hoarding natural resources, shopping, or smoking, we have been trying to distract ourselves from death. Greed, the pursuit of success at all costs, the breakneck speed of technological evolution and quest for growth and progress have been our psychological coping mechanisms in avoiding dealing with our mortality. Much like overeating or drugs help us to cope with psychological issues we do not want to open up. We are avoiding processing our trauma at any cost, even if that involves inflicting more trauma on others and others on the planet. Indeed, from traumatized to traumatizers. In fact, the irony in all of these coping mechanisms is that they include trauma. We are using trauma to keep ourselves distracted from facing our core, original trauma, facing the truth that trauma and death are part of life. They are natural, and most of all, part of being a biological organism. We are ashamed of being biological. Rather than celebrating life, we celebrate the defeat of death. It is not the same. But the more we resist and deny our core trauma, the more trauma we need to inflict around us. It is a cycle of destruction. It is a desperate attempt to relive our core trauma because we know Deep down, we know that only through trauma can we feel human, truly alive, truly ourselves. Addicted to trauma as part of our trauma denial, we have deprived ourselves of the right to cry, to feel pain, to grieve, to go into retreat. It is very sad that we are trying to feel pain instead of destroying the world. How much more pain do we need to feel or to inflict so that we can come full circle and wake up, accepting that we are a beautiful life form as we are, a life form that does not need to create huge CO2 emitting empires, one that does not need to bring other species to extinction in order to feel secure. Only if we process our trauma, accept our vulnerability, our mortality, will we come to the other end neutralized, balanced, and in peace with past and future, enlightened, awakened, content, and in control of our destiny. We are responsible not only for us, but for millions of species that live on this planet. Our unprocessed trauma and the addictions we have created to cover it up are blinding us from seeing this, and we have formed civilizations and societies where we are terrified of sitting still in fear that we might become aware of our mortality and fragility. We look down on sitting still as a form of laziness, and our obsession with achieving and destroying has brought about a sleeplessness epidemic, causing our anxiety and depression to skyrocket even further. Yet, at the same time, we take mindfulness meditation classes so that we can remember what it used to feel like just to sit, to need nothing else but our breath, our existence. No shopping, no wealth, no employee of the year awards at work, just our breath, just feeling alive, just being. We are a species that thinks it's not from Earth. Our refusal to accept our mortality has meant that we constructed civilizations that look down with contempt on the natural processes of life and death that occur in nature. Our civilizations look to shield us from anything that dies, anything that is wild, anything that reminds us of the fact that we, in fact, came from the wild, that we are an animal that came out of jungles and savannas, and that we will return to the soil one day. It is no wonder then that our polluted cities and civilizations are toxic to biological life, to our life. The Industrial Revolution, the look and feel of our modern cities, our cars, our houses, have all served to try and convince us that we are not of this earth. We are more, we are immortal, and we have the right to impose death on the animals and plants of this planet because they are not like us. Our paranoia about our own mortality has driven us to stress eat our way through nature's free buffet of resources and to commit crimes against nature so that we can make our insecure ego feel even better. Rather than consciously processing our trauma, we are subconsciously trying to relive it by inflicting it all around us. Why isn't Earth fighting us back? Earth doesn't know revenge because Earth is not addicted to trauma like humans. It doesn't need to keep destroying. Earth only destroys as much as it creates, keeping itself in balance. Water forms clouds and then rains down to form rivers and oceans. Volcanoes spew lava while tectonic plates sink into the mantle to create more lava. Besides, Earth doesn't need to fight back. It doesn't want part in a destructive codependent relationship with humans. It has millions of other healthy relationships with those other species. Humans are the one species that is on a path of self-annihilation. Trapped in a toxic reward system, much like Class A drugs like opium and heroin attack and take over the reward centers of our brain, we have designed our civilizations to offer us little rewards each day for the level of trauma that we endure. These rewards ensure that we become even more addicted to the system. Our corporate world traumatizes us with the meaningless, soul-sucking bullshit jobs that only push paper and CO2 around the globe and end up pushing us towards anxiety and sleeplessness for the reward of a salary. Our cities traumatize us with pollution, noise, traffic, and loneliness, offering us rewards in form of shopping, food, and electricity. The more traumatized we are, the more rewards we need to keep up with the false impression that we are sane and healthy. Ooh, what else can I smoke to distract myself? What else can I kill to make the fear of death go away? What more can I buy so that I can feel loved? Can someone punch me harder so that I can feel myself? And as our civilization becomes more toxic, it layers trauma upon trauma, simply so that it can continue to perpetuate itself. The only way out of this buildup is to stop and process what has been happening to humanity for the last few hundred years, and we need new history books to be continued. Excellent article from George Sacroclides. Good stuff. I hope you all enjoyed that. That is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. If you would like to support this channel, you can do so with the links below. Until next time, peace.